Good morning, Satnam. It's Shakti Sundari here, back with the next reading from the Radiance Sutras. I am in Glastonbury today and so happy to be here and to be reading to you again from one of my favourite places in the world. And we are on the insight verses at the end of the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, where Bhairava is answering Bhairavi or Shakti's final few questions about how to work with these amazing sutras for self-realization. So today's insight verse is very short. It's insight verse 148. So I'm just going to put my glasses on. Hi Chesnine, hi. So, insight verse 148 from the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. Atra eka tama yuktishe ya utpadyata dinat dinam barita karata saatra tripti atyanta purnata. And I love the sound of that so much. I'm going to read it again. Atra ekatama yuktishe ya utpadyata dinat dinam barita karata saatra tripti atyata purnata. So, in this verse, Shiva, the divine masculine, speaking to the divine feminine, and he says, being transformed by even one of these practices, fullness of experience develops breath by breath. One day, the desire of the self for the great self is consummated. Come ready for that moment. So this is a very short and very sweet little verse. It makes me think of a question one of my Kundalini yoga students posed to me a few weeks ago now. And she said, when am I going to have this big Kundalini awakening? I thought that is what's supposed to happen if we practice Kundalini yoga, that we have a Kundalini rising or a Kundalini awakening experience. My answer was, well, you know, it's actually very rare. I've never come across anybody who's been in a Kundalini yoga class and had a spontaneous Kundalini awakening. But sticking to that practice as one practice, and there are many other forms of practice, there is a gradual shift that is taking place over time. We are becoming more aware over time. We are awakening more over time. And that's the same with Kundalini Yoga as it would be with many, many other practices, which are practices to connect us with the understanding of ourselves, that we are truly love and that we are truly infinite and that we are truly divine and that we are truly one with God, even as we live as these finite beings in this limited perspective that we see from and hear from and live from right now. So that was my answer to her, and in a way, you know, in this verse, Bhairava is saying something similar. Being transformed by even one of these practices, fullness of experience develops breath by breath. So two things here. It's a fullness of experience develops over time with sustained practice, whether it's conscious breathing, whether it's meditation, whether it's mindfulness, whether it's ecstatic dance, whether it's yoga, whether it's qigong, whatever your practice of embodied awareness is, over time your fullness of experience grows and develops. And of course here in this particular verse, Bhairava emphasizes breath, because so many of these verses do relate to the breath and give us meditation practices specifically concerned with the breath, because breath is just so fundamental. A tool for connecting us to our divine essence, to our spirit, and to our life force. So then Bhairava goes on to say, one day the desire of the self for the great self is consummated. So the self with a small s and then the great self with a big S is consummated. So that which drives us, which pulls us, the longing, the yearning for merger with the divine, or for merger in love, which really, you know, I've come to understand are one and the same thing. One day that longing will be consummated, and that will be the moment of the full awakening, when we recognize and realize that we are already that, and that we are one with that, and there is no distinction. And this great cosmic love affair is within us all the time. And so the final words of this verse are, come ready for that moment. So what I also said to the student who asked me that question about awakening was, be careful what you wish for. Having a spontaneous Kundalini awakening can be incredibly powerful and overwhelming. You know, I don't know anyone directly. Well, yeah, maybe perhaps one or two people who've had similar experiences, and it's made it impossible for them to function normally for a while. So it's pretty full on. So come ready for that moment. You might rather wish for it to be a gradual developing into the fullness of your being, rather than a sudden and instant awakening that is so cataclysmic and full on. Your nervous system, your sensory system, your human aspect doesn't know how to cope with it. So come ready for that moment. Prepare yourself to be flooded with a love so massive and intense you can't possibly conceive of it. And that is my reading for today. Thank you for being with me, and looking forward to reading to you again tomorrow. Much love and Sat Nam.